And countdown to the commissioning of the Dangote Refinery. That's Monday next week. It's practically upon us right now. President Muhammadu Buhari will be in Lagos to commission the 650,000 barrel per day refinery. But let's get a sense of what Nigeria's private sector expects after the commissioning. Joining me now is Mr. Dele Oye, incoming National President of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Nsimas, joining me from Abuja studio. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we know energy is a critical component of any country's economy, and we've seen rising energy prices. That has stoked inflation globally. But now we have finally our own refinery coming up next week. What are your expectations, with the commission of the Dangote refinery?
Well, naturally, it's a huge relief to every Nigerian with the challenges we've had with the issue of petrol subsidy. I think the coming on stream of the Dangote refinery will bring to end, or at least substantially reduce, the excess money being paid by the government to subsidize fuel. What it also means there will be enough availability to the local market. And I think to every Nigerian is a huge relief. And we all look forward to the gains from such huge capacity which will be at our disposal in Nigeria. We also make Nigeria a net exporter of refined petroleum, which in itself is also create economic benefits in terms of employment and other opportunities for Nigerians. We are all very happy in the private sector, and we congratulate the federal government and Dangote Refinery for this huge success.
And looking at the global market now from a refining perspective, where exactly do you think it will place us in the short term versus long term?
Well, from the information available, the refinery, I think they're supposed to start with about 300,000 capacity and do steadily grow up, of course, scale up. What it means is Nigeria will be joining the leagues of India, Saudi Arabia, and several other countries who have achieved this feat of putting their name down in the oil and gas sector. Because our biggest problem had been we'll be sending out crude oil without also importing refined products. What this had meant is that all the byproducts which are normally used for industry, we've not been able to take advantage of this. So this is a real win for all of us, especially in Africa, that for one man to put all this together, I think it deserves all the support which government can give. And we in the private sector, we are right behind him and also congratulating him for this feat. So it puts us in a very, I think we'll be number one in Africa in this. I don't have all the statistics worldwide, but I know it really puts Nigeria in a very different level, because our biggest problem has been being a net importer of refined crude, which has made a major problem to our economy. So I think there are a whole lot of savings there, and I think we should celebrate it. It's something we should all actually look forward to.
Yeah, we're all definitely looking forward to that. But what do you think the incoming government should do about Nigeria's refining capacity, even after the commissioning of Dangote's refinery? What kind of support, should the Dangote refinery be getting, from the government?
Well, there's already a strategic relationship between Dangote refinery and the government, with the guaranteed crude investment, which was being paid for by crude oil. I think government should find a way to further provide all the necessary encouragement. It's not just the federal government. The Lagos state government should also be commended for providing the climate for such an investment to be made. And I think the federal government should find out anything they can still do to encourage not just Dangote, any other person who has such pioneering efforts, by providing additional incentives so that people can take advantage of that and invest in several other sectors. So government should provide anything that is required, every possible assistance, so that the investors can actually be able to sustain their investment, because with every new investment like this, there are several other challenges which would naturally crop up when you start operation. So government should stand by Dangote, and indeed, all Nigerians should stand by him so that we can make sure he succeeds, so that it will also be a catalyst for several other investors. And I'm aware the investment in the free trade zone, and the government should respect all agreements with operators within the free trade zone so that it can also be a catalyst for other investors who are there now, who have several challenges, to be able to get appropriate returns on their investment. And also the financial sector too, because there's a huge loan attached to this kind of investment. If government keeps its own part of the bargain, you will see that more money will go into that sector, and there'll be more employment and more opportunities. All this problem of our children going abroad prematurely, we'll see they'll start coming back if they see there's higher economic activities in these sectors. So we fully support it, and government should do everything to make Dangote succeed.
Yes, and we're all definitely excited, about this commissioning and all looking forward to it. But, in your opinion, do you see any risk ahead, with the Dangote Refinery being the one major refinery right here in Nigeria?
Well, we have several. We have the Warri Refinery, Port Harcourt Refinery, and the Kaduna Refinery.
Functioning.
I don't know what government. Some are quite epileptic in their functioning, and I don't think government should get out of business. I think government should privatize those refineries in a very transparent manner so that they can complement the efforts of Dangote. Because you can never have too much refining capacity. But to just keep them there, paying salaries and doing what they call turnaround with several public money, it's not easy for government to run business. I think government should allow the BP privatize those refineries so that we can start getting the benefits from there. And indirectly, they can actually work in collaboration with Dangote refineries, because whether you like it or not, Dangote has come to stay. And I think if one man can pull this challenge, I think government should be able to have the confidence to allow that private sector players to take over those other refineries. What is important is the process should be transparent so that it can ensure public confidence.
All right, moving away from that now, I guess congratulations are in order right now. You're the incoming president of Nsimas, and I guess it's all about incoming leadership, at this time. How do you see the task ahead for you? We've had advocacy for many years now, but, we're still struggling, in this economy right now. What else do you think is needed to support advocacy right now?
Well, I would say I'm quite lucky. We are having a new president who is pro-private sector. He's a businessman. And unlike the previous one, who did not have that kind of credentials. So what it means is we in the organized private sector, especially at Nsimas, we are quite happy he'll be able to speak our language and understand the language of business. I don't think I have to spend too much time convincing government under him, because we've seen what he has done with Lagos State and what they continue to do in Lagos State. Lagos State is probably the only state in Nigeria that is being run almost like a private enterprise. And if we bring that kind of knowledge and specialization into governance, I think we will have improved policies, and government will show more interest and understand the plight of the private sector and know that the real prosperity of Nigeria is not in being in government, but encouraging private sector. And that's why at the annual general conference we are having, the key, the theme of the conference is public-private partnership for national development. So this is why we are clearly focused, and I can assure you, I know Nigeria has just got the right driver for the right vehicle, and we're going to drive Nigeria straight to a better Nigeria, a Nigeria where rewards will be given to appropriate people with the optimum experience, so that we don't have to put the wrong pegs in the wrong holes. So I know they would approach the business like a businessman. The business of governance, and we are there to support him and to give all the necessary advice to make sure we have this shared prosperity, which is a weight of knowledge in the private sector. I'm optimistic, I'm excited, and I think we're going to have a new Nigeria.
Fantastic. We know, obviously, that fight against inflation still continues. Now, we've talked about how energy, is added to that, rising cost of energy, food prices. And we've seen the, MPC and central bankers globally, try to fight inflation with raising rates. So far, right here in Nigeria, the MPC has raised rates by to about 18%. Right now, we have inflation for April there, 22.22%. How's the private sector, handling increasing costs of borrowing? And what are you recommending for the final meeting, MPC meeting next week for this administration, for the MPC meeting?
Well, we in the private sector, our biggest problem first of all, there's not enough money to fund the private sector. And the biggest other problem is most of the funds that are even available, they are short-term funds. What it means is if you borrow at that rate to do any investment, you can only buy and sell. You cannot do anything like involving any productive capacity because it takes more than 18 months for you to turn around. So there's no long-term funds, and I think that should be the area government should focus on. And also make sure that there's enough development funds. There's no mortgage, there's no serious mortgage funds. People who want to buy things and they still buy by cash. You have to put all the money down. What this has done has created a situation where people are going to almost rent seeking. They just buy and sell. And you cannot grow any economy like that. You need to encourage the productive sector. Government needs to fund all the development banks. It's very important, give more money to them so that they can borrow long-term, minimum 5 years. That way, you'll be encouraging people to put more of their talent here in Nigeria. A lot of our youth are going out because of this lack of opportunities. All is tied down to capital. If capital is available, there'll be more employments, more opportunities, and people will take more risks. But what has happened, you keep increasing the interest rates for loans, the minimum rate by the central bank. I think it's not helping anyone. You're only creating traders instead of developers. So you need to put a deliberate policy in place and appreciate the kind of economy we have. We cannot use the same systems or the same policies that even the other countries we are copying, especially from the Western world, they don't give loans at 18 or 20% or 30% that we get in Nigeria. So we can't compete. The AFCTA is around the corner. We've started. How do we intend to export or compete with our colleagues from other African countries who get funds at lower rates? This should be the yardstick upon which government should and the central bank should look at. If we are in a market, we are borrowing at a higher rate, we can compete. So what is going to happen is Nigeria will now be a dumping ground for those products. So we have to look at our own environment, look at protective capacities, and make sure we have the right mix of funds. Long-term, even the short-term fund too, should all be in single digits. This has been the position of Nsimas, and though I am not in the position to speak for Nsimas, I'm not yet president, but I can tell you, we in Nsimas have always asked for single-digit loans. If Nigeria really want to test the private sector, what it can do, give us long-term loans, and see government will just stay and collect your taxes. But if you keep giving us short-term loans at very unreasonable distance, you're only encouraging the traders and not the manufacturers. So this is our position, and I think every serious person will support this. And I hope the new government, with their experience, will know that we need long-term loans at single digits.
Yes, yeah, you are the incoming national president of Nsimas, and definitely I know you're going to hit the road running when you're sworn in. But let's look at the incoming administration now. What do you want to see first 100 days in office? What would you like to see? Just a quick 1-minute response.
Policy consistency, full engagement with the private sector, public-private partnership, and most importantly, give us security and also give hope to everyone. There's a whole lot of people who are not happy in the land. Government needs to work hard to bring unity to all of us. You cannot build in the midst of fire. You must encourage peace. And these are the investments that are critical for our national development.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Oye, incoming President Nsimas. Thank you for your perspective today.
Thank you.